Hi, I'm Natalie.
And I'm Stacey.
And I'm Kristina, and this is our plant recommendation panel, where you write in your garden questions to us, and we recommend plants for your situation. Today, we have got Anne. She gardens in USDA Zone 8A. She has morning sun and dappled afternoon shade. She is not sure what type of soil she has, and her main problems are that deer eat her hydrangeas, and she does not like azaleas, which is not a problem, just a personal preference.
Right.
She wrote to us, osmanthus have created a nice border, and daffodils grow beautifully in the spring, but once they die back, the area looks sad. So, Anne, I have two plant recommendations for you because I see that your garden already has that beautiful evergreen interest. It's got the daffodils for spring, so I figured we could cover that beautiful summertime and kind of into that late summer and fall situation. So the first plant that I want to put in your garden is Pollypetite Rose of Sharon because it is such a pretty plant. It's got a nice cool pink coloring and some kind of like cool greenish blue color in the foliage, which would match nicely with your blue shutters. And it would go kind of toward the back of that border because it gets 3 to 4 feet tall. So that would not block your view from the window going inside or outside of your house. In front of that, kind of right up close to where those daffodils are, you could plant some Beyond Midnight Bluebeard because they don't get very tall. They look great in a little grouping.
Super deer resistant.
Super deer resistant. Yeah, both of these plants are deer resistant. And that one starts blooming in the late summer and kind of carries through that weird gap where you might not have as much interest going into fall. That one stays nice and low at 2 to 2.5 feet tall and grows 2 to 3 feet wide. So it would cover up that kind of unsightly looking daffodil foliage as it's drawing back those nutrients and getting into the ground. So both of those plants like full sun, which is covered by your morning sun position, and they are hardy in zones 5 through 9. So they check the practical boxes, and they bloom beautifully. I think that color combination would look nice in front of your home with those blue shutters.
Yeah, and I love the blue with a brick.
Yeah, the blue against, because brick can be a little hard.
It can be hard
to color combine. And that Beyond Midnight has the blue flowers, so it'll look lovely. Even when the Pollypetite Rose of Sharon isn't blooming, that kind of bluish tint to the foliage will marry well.
I was just going to say that.
Yep.
Very pretty.
We all have good ideas about color combinations here. So that's what I have for you.
I went on a journey with this, and I'm about to take you all on a journey. This is just how my brain works, and I think as the more plant panels we do, the more you're going to see this. So, Anne mentioned that the evergreen is an osmanthus hedge, and if you're not familiar with osmanthus, it's a beautiful evergreen. It's a warm climate evergreen, not hardy, so if you've never heard of it before, that's why. And it has amazingly fragrant flowers in the winter. And a lot of people don't realize this, but in jasmine tea, it's very often osmanthus flowers and not actually jasmine. So that kind of sparked a tea theme for me. And
yes.
And my mind immediately went to a shrub. It's not a Proven Winners Color Choice shrub, but this was my very first thought, and that is...
Sorry.
What? No, I'm going to get there. Don't worry.
I liked it.
Although camellias would be good here. And that's what true tea comes from, is camellias. But that was not where my brain went. It went to New Jersey tea, Ceanothus americanus. So if you're not familiar with this is a Native American shrub, and it has beautiful foamy white flowers in the summer. And they just kind of hover. It's about a 3 to 4 foot shrub, beautifully textured leaves, and the white flowers just kind of hover over the plant. And when they're done, they give way. They make these really cool triangular, glossy seed pods that turn bright red, and then those persist until fall. So New Jersey tea got its name because during the Revolutionary War, after the famous Boston Tea Party, and they got rid of all their tea, and they were all addicted to caffeine, and they were like, we need tea. They started using this plant as a tea substitute. So that's how it got its name. So that was sort of where my brain went. And then I started going down the Revolutionary War path. And
she was on a war path to find you the right plants. And
I was like, oh, you know what would be so cool here is a low hedge of gembox or strongbox inkberry holly along the edge there where the grass is. And the reason that was sparked by the Revolutionary War thing is that the berries of inkberry holly were actually used for ink during the Revolutionary War and beyond. And so I think it goes really well. It kind of helps to keep a lot of that formality that you already have in your landscape. So I'm imagining like a low hedge of the gembox or strongbox. Either way, they're both similar. Gembox is a little more round. Strongbox is a little more squat and flat. And then in the center of that bed, because you do have plenty of space, I would say plant our new squeeze box inkberry holly. That is a male. It's more upright, and so it would do really well in the center. It'll pollinate those females, so you'll get those berries. And then I would say plant the ceanothus or the New Jersey tea in 2 groups of 3 plants each around that center. So kind of imposing some formality while also keeping a lot of the informal. I think it goes well with the age and style of your house. And you already have that nice boxwood hedge. So that kind of is like another classic revolutionary colonial era garden feature. And that's how my brain works. And so it's thematic. I like a good theme in the garden. And so when anybody asks you about it, you can just like take them on a journey too.
Nicely done. Remind me not to sit after Stacey next time. Okay, my choices are actually, there's once again a few choices, but they're all abelias. I love abelias for southern gardens. I'm actually growing an abelia in my northern garden. I'm growing Funshine abelia. It's doing fine, but in southern gardens, they can really just explode with color. One thing I love about them is they bring color to your garden through foliage. So you're not depending on the flower to bring an interesting color story to your garden. And abelia does that in so many ways. I'm a sucker for variegated foliage. Our brand new Mucho Gusto, which you might find online this year, you're definitely going to start finding it in garden centers next year, has a really pretty white margin, a green leaf, and then the stems are red. And I was just down at a garden center in South Carolina, and they had these in big 3-gallon containers, and they're absolutely eye-popping. They're so beautiful. They do have a really informal look. They're very loose. They're very lacy looking. They have a pink spring flower, but the foliage, I think, is what really makes them super interesting. If you want a little more red in the foliage, you could go with something like Tres Amigos, which is another new one, but it will be at garden centers this year. And that has like the green center still, but a little bit more red to the margin. So it just brings that really interesting foliage color story to your garden. And they're all nice and compact. They're going to stay around 2 to 3 feet tall and wide. You can pop them in there as groups. You could, easily mix them with any of the plants that you heard about today. So that's my choice. Funshine has an orange foliage with a pink spring flower. Mucho Gusto, that white and green variegated, and Tres Amigos has a little bit of green, cream, and pink. You can't go wrong with either one. I love abelia.
Those are great choices because I think that they really will allow the daffodils to shine through. They don't get too tall, so the daffodils will come through. And our abelias were selected to not dogleg. And that's something I think that makes a lot of people shy away from abelia in the South. So they don't put out those crazy shoots going all over the place. And so you keep up that nice, tidy look that you already have established. Right.
And you can prune them. You can prune them to shape if you want, just to make sure they stay nice and tidy and round. Or you can let them go kind of lacy and wild. But before we get done talking about abelia, the daffodils had me thinking about something that you see online all the time. So this might be the place to talk about it.
Okay.
Braid the foliage or not?
Oh, no. Oh, God.
What's your take on it, Kristina?
Well, in my heart, I say no, because braided foliage like that makes me think of garlic, and I'm not getting any garlic when I'm looking at that.
I mean, I get it. I personally feel like life is too short for a braided daffodil foliage. But if you're into it, that's fine. I mean, a lot of people will say, like, oh, if you braid it, then there's less leaf surface exposed for photosynthesis, which is, of course, really important to, rebuilding the bulb so it will bloom last year.
Amount?
It's pretty much negligible. Yeah. So if you are the type, if you're the type who likes to braid your daffodil foliage, then nothing we say is going to stop
And also
you.
keep doing it.
I keep doing it.
Here,
exactly. Well, I'm totally behind it. For me, it's a no, but I'm like, if it's you, 100% I'm for it.
And I know that it's super painful for some people to see this yellowing sad thing in their garden. So if braiding the foliage can just make you bear it a little bit easier,
I'm gonna say I'm a foliage braider. I can braid it and then I can tuck it neatly away to let my other plants around it shine. So it's not like I'm daffodil foliage. It's just nice and tidy. I like everything nice and tidy. I'm a bold personality type.
And then there's this weird little braided coil just plopped in your
garden artwork with foliage. And that's that.
And if you want some help braiding your foliage, you know where to find Natalie. You have a lot of daffodils.
Yes, maybe I'll start a course.
Well, I loved the garden we planned for you, Anne. And if you're not Anne and you loved this and you would like plant recommendations for your space, visit us at provenwinnerscolorchoice.com and push the Contact Us button. Be sure to add as much information as you can. We love pictures.
Gotta have a picture.
So maybe we'll give you some advice on your garden, and we'll see you again next time.